I'm Teresa Coraggio, and this is Third Paradigm. Today, before we get started, I just want to point out my fine lava lamp that I acquired at a funky little secondhand shop called Abbott Thrift. And if you look closely, you can see that it says Washington Mutual Home Loans. Let's imagine that executive meeting. So, Jack, what do you think is going to really convey the stability and solidity of our institution? Why, Fred, I think a spaceship lava lamp with glitter in it. Done! Don't we all want to live in a world like that? Today's topic is, what's the best that can happen? This is a question that my daughter Cassandra has been asking whenever I look to her to give me advice on some decision I need to make. And it's revolutionized my life and my outlook. I used to think, hope for the best but prepare for the worst. But then when the worst didn't happen, I found that I had wasted a lot of time and that I wasn't preparing for what could happen. I find it especially useful when you really have no control whatsoever of the outcome. You can do your part, you can put in the effort, but it's really beyond you as to what happens. So by envisioning something that says, well, if this and this and this fell into place, that actually could work out better for everyone involved. That's given me a way of being able to just do my part with a little more verve and encouragement, because we can't control these things and we might as well hope for the best and plan for the best. And I think this question is useful not just on a personal level, but on a global level. If you've been watching my videos, you and I are a vanishing breed of people who are actually tracking with the intersections of money and power and violence and propaganda, looking at history, looking at current events. This is something that is very rare without people falling into one knee-jerk reaction on one side or the other. And over my 65 years, I've tried to impact this through charity, through activism, through youth education, with local community groups, with international coalitions, and writing and public speaking, and all seemingly to no avail. But if I give myself more benefit of the doubt, maybe everything that I did was just what I needed to do in order to be in this place at the right time and be the right person with the tools to be able to look at this. And the same goes for you. I think the time we're living in is particularly significant because I don't think there has ever been a more carefully orchestrated coup for global domination, not just through violence, but through also the infiltration of the minds and the bodies of every person on the planet. That's something that in particular strikes me because I live in the belly of the beast. I live where I am weary, heart weary of being so helpless when I'm a part of the machine living in the U.S. I think that we also need each other at this time because it's very isolating. People are together on maybe seeing through one of the narratives, but then you'll have another narrative where they're just all gung-ho and there's nothing that you can say that's going to change their minds. And despite or because of all this, I find myself waking up with this deep feeling of contentment that things are in motion and they're not going to stay the same. I am suffused with well-being is the phrase that keeps coming back to me. So today I'd like to share with you some of the things that bring me joy and that just give me that sense that this is going to be okay, and to see whether they might do the same for you. Every Tuesday, I get Rob Brezsny's Free Will Astrology, and anyone who is not subscribed to that is doing their soul a disservice. This week's was called You Have Always Been in Love, and it featured what he calls love bombs that are different quotes from different people. So this one is from Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I think that sense is so important, that you complete me and I complete you. One of my viewers, Jack Sirius, mentioned that alongside my book, he was reading David Graeber's The Dawn of Everything, and that they made great companion pieces. And I had that on my shelf, and I was eager to start it. So I picked it up. Now, David Graeber died, I think, last year, and he had been working with David Wengrow for 10 years, where they were in conversation. He says every day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, and having this exciting discourse on all of these ideas. And that 3 weeks after they completed this book, David died. So this is something that is so fascinating to me. And I feel like the interconnection between the two Davids is something that's critical to be able to find that new place. And I opened it to chapter 1, where it has a C.G. Jung quote that says, "This mood makes itself felt everywhere, politically, socially, and philosophically. We are living in what the Greeks call the kairos, the right time, for a metamorphosis of the gods, i.e., of the fundamental principles and symbols." In my book, I talk about kairos when I talk about Greece, and how it's this lightning strike of suddenly being the opportunity for everything to change. So the synchronicity of that just delights me. And then Rob has another love bomb by Andrew Varnon that I have to read you just for fun. Be my ruckus, my perfect non sequitur. Be my circuit breaker, my lengthening shadows at dusk, my nest of pine needles, my second-story window. Be my, if you stare long enough, you'll see it. Be my subatomic particle. Be my backbeat, my key of C minor, my surly apostle, my scandalous repartee, my maximum payload. Be my simmering, seething, flickering, radiating, shimmering, and undulating. What is the best that can happen, and how is it closely related to the worst? What we know is coming is a serious disruption to consumerism. The imperial currencies are not going to have the ability to extract the wealth of third world countries anymore. What we know is that we're going to not be able to rely on the fossil fuels in the way that we could before, that we're going to need to figure out how to produce for ourselves and how to maybe communicate with the people we're around. With Mexico starting a South American lithium alliance, we may not be able to have all the internet and technology and ways that we can substitute for our day-to-day life. I heard a new phrase where a commenter accused the author of having reality privilege, that if you are able to tolerate and enjoy interacting in the real world, that's just because you're privileged. And the rest of everyone else has to be living in the internet because their reality is just intolerable. And so rather than that being something that we fix, like homeownership or having good food, these all become things that are not rights, but are privileges. On taking back reality as the best that can happen, this is Wendell Berry. Because we have not made our lives to fit our places, the forests are ruined, the fields eroded, the streams polluted, the mountains overturned. Hope then to belong to your place by your own knowledge of what it is that no other place is, and by your caring for it as you care for no other place, this place that you belong to, though it is not yours, for it was from the beginning and will be to the end. This knowledge cannot be taken from you by power or by wealth. It will stop your ears to the powerful when they ask for your faith, and to the wealthy when they ask for your land and your work. Answer with knowledge of the others who are here and how to be here with them. By this knowledge, make the sense you need to make. By it, stand in the dignity of good sense, whatever may follow. Listen privately, silently to the voices that rise up from the pages of books and from your own heart. Be still and listen to the voices that belong to the stream banks and the trees and the open fields. There are songs and sayings that belong to this place, by which it speaks for itself and no other. And then I'll end with Caitlin Johnstone from her post, "We're just a confused species in an awkward transition phase." We have the ability to ask questions, but lack the wisdom to deeply question our own true nature and whether the world is really as it seems. The ability to write vast tomes of philosophy that contain not one line telling us how to be content on the planet we were born on. The ability to construct entire belief systems that are completely useless for learning to live in harmony with what is. The ability to discover spirituality only to use it for vapid escapism and tyrannical psychological domination. The ability to research human psychology only to use it to convince people to buy junk they don't need and support wars they don't want and vote for politicians they don't like. The ability to invent something as transcendental as music only to popularize songs about owning stuff and getting money. The ability to technologically link billions of minds on the internet only to spend all our time arguing about nonsense. The ability to intimately appreciate beauty and mystery with a profound depth and complexity only to spend our entire lives frantically doing anything but that. Change is coming, whether we want it or not, and for me, that's a relief. So my suggestion is find the places where you can agree with people and leave the rest alone. There's nothing that you say that's actually going to change this. And that's okay, because something I believe is at work here that's going to turn out better and bring us back to that place that Wendell Berry and Caitlin Johnstone want for us. Because Caitlin Johnstone's post was about the right-left hemisphere and the evolution of the brain, several viewers mentioned Ian McGilchrist. So this is my one on Ian McGilchrist called "What is the Matter?" And then this one is related, which is Inner Being versus Interdependence on Sebastian Junger. And thank you for being part of my posse in going through this kairos where we turn this crisis into opportunity. Thank you.